And we're back. It's May 25th, and here are your Act 5 Scene 1 summaries. And reminder, Deadline 4 is done this week. So please get your tombstone, and don't forget you have to have an epitaph. Follow the instructions in the course outline booklet for that. And please submit your epitaph if you want me to proofread it, but I will only accept that till probably Wednesday. So it'd be the 27th, because you've already had plenty of time to get your assignments in, or your epitaphs in. So if you're just starting your tombstone right now, I've talked about this many times, leaving things to the last possible second. It will not work in post-secondary. You might be able to get away with it in the first little while, but your instructors are not going to be chasing you for assignments and things like that. And if you leave it to the last possible second, you're looking at a lot of stress. And so time management is very important. That's why the deadline periods are set up the way they are, so you can manage that time. And if you are taking other classes during supplemental learning, obviously you manage your classes accordingly. So if this class is further down on the list compared to, say, your math and science classes, that kind of thing, well, then okay, that makes sense. But if you're just taking the one class or whatever, you've had plenty of time to get this item done and get it out of your hair. Now, on the other hand, on the flip side, if this class is one of your easier classes and the math and sciences are a little more challenging, it would make more of a logical sense to get this class out of your hair so you can spend more time on the math and science. So you need to take a look at your courses, the extent, and weigh it out, how extensive those classes are. And there's a lot of papers and research to be done, and obviously you need to spend more time with those classes. If it's just the other classes dealing with more reading or labs or whatever the case, and you can manage that appropriately as well. So it really comes down to sitting down and creating a regiment for yourself that you can stick to, and be sure that you can get these classes all cleared off, and then free yourself up for other things. And that includes the social time and the family time and the personal time and all that kind of. It's lots of different times that you're going to have to take into consideration. So please keep that in mind when you transition. I do recommend that you set up a deadline period for yourself, your own personal one. Your courses may already have it laid out for you, and so you follow it accordingly, and just get your stuff done as soon as you can to the best of your ability, and follow the instructions of your professors or lecturers or whoever is running the class. Utilize the resources that are available as well. Of course, you have access to LibGuide if you need that for referencing tools and things like that to help you with your humanities courses like English and history. And so that resource is available no matter what, and it's set up to help you even beyond grade 12. So please take advantage of that. Okay, so let's move on to our Scene 1 summaries. And I want to say that yes, I know I've been stating you should do this, do that, consider this, consider that. in the end, it comes down to your decision on how you need to manage things and what works for your needs. So please keep that in mind, that everyone's learning needs are unique and distinct. And so you work out a plan that works best for you. All right, let's get to episode 5. I call this The Rest is Silence. Scene 1. Hamlet and Horatio enter a graveyard where 2 grave diggers are preparing a grave for Ophelia. It actually should be 3 according to the play, but 2 are more the 2 that actually have a conversation and discussion about Ophelia's state. That's listed in your book, but Hamlet doesn't know this. He just comes across this as he's heading wherever he met Horatio. They're heading back to the castle. A funeral procession enters. We find out it's Ophelia. Larry doesn't want to leave his sister to this untimely end, aka or i.e. No religious burial. The priest says he's done everything he can. He's actually done more than he should be doing, because the question was doubtful. Hamlet leaps to Ophelia's side, and Larry subjects. Now the play has it the other way. Larry jumps in first, and then Hamlet jumps in as well, and then they start fighting, and then they are separated. Hamlet confesses he loved Ophelia, but no one believes him after he spurned her earlier on, and I already talked about that in the last video, that Ophelia was spurned by Hamlet. It was meant to get her out of the way, to get her to safety, because nunneries were a place of refuge and safety for people, especially in times of when things are getting pretty hectic and complicated. He didn't want anything to happen to Ophelia, and unfortunately it did. Laertes was in France the whole time. Polonius was out spying, so Ophelia was left on her own and isolated and alienated, for that matter. So lots of regret, should have, could have, would have. And Hamlet says if anyone tries to stop him from paying his last respects, they'll end up joining her. But he also states that he will be, for sure, joining her shortly. So we have some foreshadowing there. Claudius reminds Laertes about the conversation they had the previous night to tempt Laertes into acting out against Hamlet. He needs Laertes to do this job because Claudius never does anything on his own, with the exception of killing his own brother. But when it comes to taking care of Hamlet, he had Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to find out why Hamlet's acting the way he is. Then he uses Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to escort Hamlet to England, and of course we're going to find out what happened on that ship that allowed Hamlet to come back. And then we had Polonius. Polonius was used as a spy, and so Claudius took advantage of that. Gertrude was used in a way as well, and now she was receptive because she allowed herself to remarry 2 months after the fact. But then once in Act 4, that when end of Act 3, when Hamlet speaks daggers to his mother, we find out that there's, she's been noticing things have not been normal. So there's a bit of regret there, and the fact that she's no longer close to her son as she used to be. And then Laertes is now being used as a tool as well. So there's a lot of different people being used as a tool. So that theme runs quite rampant there. All right, that's it for scene 1. All right, so we'll catch you in a little bit for scene 2. Take care and be safe.